Imagine this. You're watching Frankenstein. The storm is raging, the lab crackles with electricity, and the doctor leans over the lifeless body on the table and says those immortal words. It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's one of the most iconic line deliveries in cinema history. You know it, I know it, even people who have never seen Frankenstein know it. But if you were to ask most people who delivered that line, they wouldn't be able to tell you. Maybe they would say Boris Karloff. Maybe they would just say, like, the doctor. I don't know his name. And that, right there, is the tragedy of... what is his name? Oh, right. Colin Clive. But today I'm making a case for him, for why Colin Clive isn't just a footnote next to Boris Karloff's monster, but he's actually one of the most brilliant, tortured, unforgettable actors of early Hollywood. And why forgetting him isn't just unfair, it's forgetting the very soul of Frankenstein. I'm Antonia Carlotta, and this is Universally Me, the channel for all things Universal and classic horror. My family started Universal Studios, and they made the Universal monsters, including Frankenstein. And before we get started, I want you guys to let me know in the comments if you already knew Colin Clive's name, or if you're just learning it right now. Let's back up. Colin Clive wasn't just your typical Hollywood pretty boy. After being crushed by a horse, breaking both knees at the Royal Military College in Sandhurst, Colin Clive decided to become an actor. He did have a great look for it, sharp cheekbones, sunken-in eyes, and a distinct voice. He made a name for himself on stage, appearing in the first London production of Showboat with Paul Robeson, and then working with James Whale for the Savoy Theatre production of Journey's End. When James Whale started making the Journey's End movie, Colin Clive came to Hollywood for his first film role. I'm not sure whether to call his role in Journey's End foreshadowing or maybe just a parallel. As Stanhope, he played a tormented alcoholic, and in real life, he was a tormented alcoholic. Sometimes life really does imitate art. I love how they talk about his character for like 20 minutes before he finally comes on screen. It really helps to build the mythos of the character that we see. He plays Stanhope with so much anxiety and vulnerability, at times fragile and at times haunted. This became his strength and made him perfect for Frankenstein the following year. I don't think it was just his name or just his look that got him the role. I think it was his ability to capture that brilliance, that obsession, and complete unraveling. When people think about Frankenstein today, myself included, we think first of Boris Karloff's monster. The makeup, the walk, the sadness behind the eyes. And don't get me wrong, I love Karloff. He's a legend, you know that. But the monster doesn't work without Colin Clive, period. Think about it. The drama of Frankenstein isn't monster smashes things. It's man creates life and loses his sanity in the process. In many ways, it's Colin Clive's movie. His shaking voice as he defies God, his nervous energy that makes you believe he hasn't slept in weeks, his clear obsession. Karloff gave the monster humanity, but Colin Clive is what gives the story stakes. And yet he hardly gets credit. We replay the scene, we quote the line, we might make Halloween costumes based off of him, cartoon characters, but we've forgotten the actual man who delivered the performance. Colin Clive felt so authentic in the role because in many ways he wasn't acting. He was tormented in real life too. He suffered from alcoholism, crippling anxiety, and chronic health problems. He was married, but many believe it was a lavender marriage, and he was at the very least bisexual. His wife never left London to live with him in Los Angeles. Mae Clarke spoke so highly of Colin Clive. She thought he was mesmerizing, such a talented actor, and so clever. But she could also see the extreme sadness in him. Supposedly, his alcoholism was never hidden. He would frequently nap between shooting scenes, and Gregory Mank said that for some of the over-the-shoulder shots, he actually had to be held up. It almost makes it all the more amazing that he was able to deliver such powerful performances so under the influence. In 1935, Colin Clive reprised his role as the doctor in The Bride of Frankenstein. And if you know me, you know I've made it no secret. I think The Bride of Frankenstein is the most superior of all the Frankenstein films. Despite Bride of Frankenstein taking place in the immediate aftermath of the first Frankenstein film, and despite only 4 years passing between the two films, Colin Clive certainly looks like he's aged more than 4 years. It's nearly impossible to tell what might be a character choice for him to look anxious, sweaty, fidgety, ill, or hunched, and what might be his inability to overcome the dire situation he was in. He's no longer just the scientist obsessed with creation. He is firmly a man who knows he's lost control and is begging for escape. It's absolutely a piece of what makes The Bride of Frankenstein so great. We talk about the monster's humanity, but this is such a great example of the doctor's own humanity. Colin Clive should be remembered as one of the greats, but he never had the chance. He appeared in just 18 films, some opposite some great stars like Katharine Hepburn, Bette Davis, but he was very often playing tortured roles. And audiences didn't know what to do with that. In an era where escapism was such a highly desirable feature of the movies, Colin Clive could be a stark reminder of reality. So instead of becoming a star, he became typecast. Doomed on screen, doomed off screen. Colin Clive didn't live to see his legacy. By 1937, just 2 years after The Bride of Frankenstein came out, his body gave out and he died from complications of tuberculosis. And I honestly don't know what he would think of his legacy today. He was never a fan of horror films, not Frankenstein or The Bride of Frankenstein, nor Mad Love at MGM. He appreciated getting the roles, but he didn't enjoy them. He didn't like the makeup or the process. He didn't like the emphasis on looking ugly, and he longed for meatier, more dramatic roles. So 90 years later, being remembered for nothing but horror, the guy who was in Frankenstein, the guy who said it's alive, yeah, that's gotta sting. It's a cruel ending to a cruel life. But that's why I'm here today, because I think Colin Clive deserves to be remembered. And I would love for his legacy to extend beyond his horror roles. But to start, we'll start here. And I would just be happy if the average person knows his name. It's amazing how somebody so front and center can be so invisible at the same time. We put him on lunchboxes and t-shirts, all sorts of products next to Boris Karloff. We quote his famous line as one of the best of all time, and yet we somehow also kind of forget he exists. Colin Clive wasn't just a supporting player in Karloff's shadow. He was the heart of Frankenstein, the fragile, brilliant, doomed heart. And from now on, when you think about Frankenstein, I don't want you to just think about the monster. Think about the doctor too. Think about Colin Clive too. The man who brought him to life and whose own life was unraveling as he shouted those immortal words. In the comments, I want you to tell me, if Colin Clive lived longer, what role would you have liked to see him play? If you like these Universal and Classic Horror deep dives, please subscribe, hit that like button and the notification bell. Share this video with somebody you think doesn't know Colin Clive's name. Paid members, don't forget, get bonus videos, pictures, and it's the best way to support Universally Me, so go join today. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.